Hi Toby. As I had written in the mail, I created some table generator for you. Well, maybe not only for you, but it was created with you in my mind, and it creates only Tobytables, so tables based on your design. So the rounded corners on the top and inside there's also like rounded shapes. And when I heard you talking in your stream about how you generate tables, I thought that it is impossible, that there are no other ways to do that. So basically, from what I understand, you copy paste always your tables, which are probably in some kind of table, really. You are copy pasting this text into the Photoshop and creating the tables by hand. And I started investigating and realized that really I have no idea how to automate it, or how to at least make it easier to do. And so I started to try to code something, and it took me much more time than I expected, because I thought, oh, it's not so hard to do. But I realized that, at least in Golang, which I used, the libraries they are not really ready for this task, because from one point of view, I wanted to generate image, and this image have to be in vectors. I don't know if you know the difference, but it is very probably yes, but I will explain anyway. It's in vectors. Your tables are separated from the text, and it's not binary format, so you can always. It's like basically mathematical formulas which describes the lines, and text is also always editable, and so vectors, I think, are much better to this task, to have tables in, because now I think you are very well aware that in your source material, or in your material to the sixth dungeon, there is a problem that every table is in binary format, in raster format to be precise, and we cannot copy paste, or we cannot, and this is even, I think, more important, we cannot search in those files. So even for you, it would be much easier if you can find all occurrences of something, especially now when you are developing to the sixth dungeon. By the way, if someone else is watching this, it's amazing game from Toby Lancaster, and you should check it out because it's really interesting. Yeah, and so to the point. So I needed the library which will generate something like that, the vector image, and I found one, but it had a few problems, so I pushed author of this library to fix them. Fortunately, I don't have to do that on my own. I only investigated, and then he fixed it, and another problem occurs, because I wanted to achieve an effect when you designing the source table from which will generate actual table. I wanted to be able to just do it in some spreadsheet application, and do not care about anything else. So I wanted to take width of the column from it. I wanted to take height of the column. I wanted to take styles like font name and size and so on directly from this spreadsheet. And I realized there is no library that can do it actually. There were one Xlize, it's called Xlize, they said that they are planning to be able to read the styles of the cells, but it's work in progress and we don't know when it will be, or it will be maybe in autumn, so too late. So I wrote my own. Fortunately, I found ODS library. ODS, it is a spreadsheet standard, open standard. LibreOffice uses this format as their native format, but you can generate ODS files from Excel, from Google spreadsheets, probably from every spreadsheet application you have. So it should be quite universal. But I tested it only on LibreOffice Calc and once on the Google spreadsheet, and it also seems to work. But I didn't test it with Excel, Microsoft Office Excel. So I'm not sure, but it should work if they are like using the standard as it should be used. Okay, so stop talking. Let's show you some things. So for now it's all work in progress, but I think that a lot of things which I wanted to works already. So let's start LibreOffice. You can imagine that you are okay, discard all. I don't know what is it. As you can see, I tested few things. I have a table, but as I think it's on the wrong place. Give me a sec. So projects, go, and Tobytables. As I wrote, very imaginative name, and my fonts are completely messed up today. I don't know what happens. I know that I uninstalled some fonts, but some crazy fonts take over my default fonts, and I have to change it. As you see, it's transforming my text into some icons, but never mind. Okay, what I wanted, sources. So here in the directory, you basically have. I don't know if you use Windows or Mac OS or something. That doesn't matter because this application is multi-platform, so it will work everywhere when I generate binaries for them. So it's fine. If you are I suspect you are using Windows, so you will have here you will have some exe file, just Tobytables exe, not this all files, and two directories, sources and outputs. It is configurable in here. There should be config ini. And there will probably be more configuration in the future, but now we will look at it. But in the sources, you have just your ODS files. So when I open this one, you will see that it's taken from your tables, one of the tables, and so I basically I could ignore these lines. I put them here, but for now the lines are not taken into account. It is the width of the line is configurable in config ini, so you write your value there, and these lines are just for me to see it better or something. Never mind. But there is one parameter which is taken into account. This is padding. Padding, how far from the edges text should be. Like here, you can see it's quite close, but it's I think that's default. When we, for example, we can look at the cell format, and you can see that there is nothing because I changed the padding. I don't know to which value. I think 0.45 is default in LibreOffice, and this is taken into account. So it can pad the output text, and probably I will also put it into config file, because I don't know if it is very like convenient to do it this way. I'm not sure about that. Okay, but generally, you know, this font, Allegria SC, it's taken into account. This size is taken into account, and also those. So if I want to have it aligned to the left, it will be aligned to the left, to the right, to the center, and the same is here. So aligning it vertically. Probably we will want to center it, but that's also taken into account in the final thing. Maybe I can show you like making a table from the scratch. So let's say that this will be some title, and here will be a number, and here will be some text, for example, and we can create a table from it. As I said, I'm making borders usually because for me it's visually more appealing, but it's not necessary. And here I will merge the cell. I don't know how to, yeah, okay, because you usually have it like that. So let's put it like this, and let's put some numbers here. So let's do it like, I don't know, just maybe a few lines, and text 1, text, never mind. It was, I meant F2, not F1, and other text, and some other text. And I would like to stop here because let's set some width, let's make it center, probably let's make it center like that. And what we should always do, and this is quite important, to set the width of the row, because if you make a row too small, it will not generate the text at all. And I want to maybe in the future put some warnings somewhere or some pop-up that this happened, but I will come back to this topic. Row height, okay, and we will put it to some, I think that you have 50 set in Photoshop. I'm not really sure, but somewhere around this value. So usually 10 points will not fit into the table, but it's a matter. I think that you have even more experience than me, and it also depends on font, of course, because maybe Liberation Sans will fit, but another fonts will not. Okay, that would be enough, but we want also some kind of background colors. So in this example files, I took color values from your files, so it's I think exactly like you have them. But now let's do some pretty bad colors here. So yeah, some gray and some I don't know, like, yeah, it's terrible. I am a wonderful graphic designer. And by the way, even text color works. So if let's try it, or I hope it works. Let's put something really terrible like this, and let's make it bold. And I think that italics are not implemented. I'm not really sure, but I think they are not. I'm not. As I said, it's it's a bit yeah, it's terrible table, it looks terrible, but okay. Let's save it into outputs, no, into sources. Into sources, let's call it table 2. It will be by default ODS, so that's fine. And I think that's all. What do we need to do? Let's close them. Don't save. I don't know what I changed. And as always, it will go wrong now. But I will run. It's in. I am like compiling it now and running the code. You can see that we are processing table 1 because every file in the sources will be processed, and as you see, it's quite slow now, and this is because of reading fonts from the files from the file system or operating system, but it will be faster. This first read will be slow like it is now. Maybe we will figure something out with the author of the library, but that's not as big problem. But you saw that when we were processing second file, but in that case it would be the same time because we used different font. But I will cache the fonts globally. So once read, if you have I don't know 100 files, it will be just read once, and it should generate the table very quickly. Or all the tables very quickly. Okay, so when we look at outputs, we should see two tables, and you can see table 1, table 2. Let's my image viewer A of GNOME, let's take output up, very professional. Okay, table 1. Okay, so we can see, and you also can see that the image, the size of the image is exactly, or almost exactly, like the size of the table. And this could be changed. Why? Because I have a plan that I will generate the whole table layout at once into A4, A5, as you use pages. It will be configurable. I think that this is maybe not so important, but it may be quite convenient if I can do, and I don't promise that I will, because now I can generate two tables at once, but they have to be like one table and the second table have to be below. If it is on the side, it is a bit problematic, and now it will definitely not generate it well. So it's not supported right now, but we will see. Maybe I will figure out how to do it. Especially problem is that when the tables would start and finish on different places, like they will be like that. This is a bit problematic, but as I said, it's doable definitely. So we have a table, and the size of the line is configurable, radius is configurable, rest is in this config ini file, and rest is taken directly from the spreadsheet file. So you can see, let's take a look at the table 2. Yeah, you can see the reason for that is also the padding. Because the padding is causing that there is no text here. Let's fix it. Let's fix it quickly, and we can experiment with padding. Padding is currently not configurable in the config file, but I want it to be. Not this file. I want it to be configurable in the file, so we don't have to mess with it inside spreadsheet. It will be, I think, easier. I'm not sure, but I think so. So let's make something bigger or something smaller. Also, the second thing now when I'm thinking about that, maybe we should make this padding configurable on like bottom and top of the cell, because you can see that maybe we don't need padding here, but we need a padding here, because we don't want this text to collide with the lines. It's unreadable. So maybe I should, yeah, it will be no problem to do so. But that's the reason why I am recording this too long, probably, recording, because I want you to take a look at this and said, you know, this is shitty, this is not like I want it to be, and this is not convenient. Let's make it work a bit differently. And also, it would be great if I can get some sources, because with the small tables I have no problem to write it, but I tried to OCR, like recognize text from the bigger tables, and it was quite messy. So I didn't do that, but it would be great to have few example tables, so I can test that it's doing what it should do. Let's look if we fixed it. Output table 2. No, we didn't. We didn't. But there have to be some logical reason for that. Let's take a look. By the way, this output will not be there. You can see our text here. It's only for debugging. I will for now. I will fix it by increasing the row height, because that's the reason. I don't know, but I don't know why. It's maybe the padding is really too big. I know that I done something with padding, like it takes into account line width and adds the padding to that, so it may be bigger. This padding may be bigger than we thought it is, or something. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably something like that. And let's try to run it again. As always, live demos never works, so it was expected. I'm even surprised that I've been able to generate this table. I'm joking. Usually it worked every time I tried, but there were a few bugs which prevents even generation of the table, but they are now fixed, I hope. But it very much also depends on the source file, on this ODS file. So it is possible that you will use Excel and it will not work, but if it will happen, I will fix it. Because, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it is like that, but I messed something up. This font is really too big. This font is really too big. I will cut this probably somewhere, this recording, and fix it maybe. Never mind. Okay, maybe not. Yeah, that's the reason why we have to test it, because something is off, and I don't understand what at the moment, but it's working. But the placement is off, everything is off. It may be related to the table location in the file itself, but I don't understand why the text is so big. It shouldn't be. It should be 7 points, so very small. Yeah, and there is one feature which I have almost prepared, but not done yet, It's auto-sizing. It's auto-sizing of the text. So when you have a cell and you says that it should be like this size of the text, but it doesn't fit, I can detect that, for example, one word is missing, and decrease the size of the font and try again. It will take a bit more time, but yeah. And I'm also thinking about some kind of feedback, because there may be tables where you want that, because you know that you have to fit more text in one specific cell, but there may be tables when this will happen by accident. You will put one word more, and in the end it will not fit into the cell, so I will shrink the table. It will be configurable if you want to do that or not. That's the one thing. But second thing, I am thinking about some kind of feedback, that you know that it happened, and you know, okay, that's fine. I want it to text be a bit smaller, but to fit everything. Or oh no, I have to shorten the sentence in one cell. Yeah. So I will probably do some edits a bit, maybe not too much, because yeah. But I want to fix this bug, which caused this mess, and I will be right back and show you when it is really working, because that's not the best presentation. Okay, so I fixed the problem, because what the problem was, and it's maybe quite important to talk. I leave the default font here, and it will end up like not writing info about the font at all to the output file. So the only thing I needed to do was to like mark it and select, and I selected some other font, and that's all. So now when we generate tables, it will behave like it should behave. So yeah, that was all the trick. And because I always change font, I never, and you have to do that. You have to like exactly set, okay, use this font, because it will not work anyway. I think that there are few things like that, like font size. That's also these spreadsheets usually have some default font size, and if you even if you select the same font size and said, okay, I want it like 10 or 11 or 9 or whatever, it will write the size info into the actual this output file, so in this case ODS file, and then I can see it in my tool and use it to like give a proper font to the output. So that's an important thing. Okay, I think yeah, another thing. I'm using Inkscape to my vector graphics editing tasks, and I love this program. But you ask in the email if you can use directly this output in Photoshop. I think so. I don't have Photoshop. I can check it, but in any graphical program which can work with vector graphic, you can use that. So you can see that this is still ordinary SVG file. I can edit it. I can do whatever I want to do. So it's also workaround for the features I don't currently have, because for example, you have maybe only one table, but there is such table where you have like normal text going here, and from here you have a part with is on 2 rows, and I cannot do that right now. It needs to be able to work with text spans, and I didn't implement it yet, but it shouldn't be problem, especially that you have just a really like small amount of this. So yeah, but I believe that Photoshop may be able also to work with vector graphics. If not, always Inkscape is always a solution, which is amazing, and it's open source, it's free, everyone could use it. The same for, of course, LibreOffice. So everything I use is usually open source. So this commercial stuff I know very little about. So sorry for that. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, there's one thing which shouldn't be any problem in practice, but it's like that these paths you can see they are separated. Like it theoretically should maybe be like one big path, but it's not. It's even these corners are separated SVG paths, and usually it's no problem. When you are working with that, you can always like group it. It's Control G in Inkscape, and now you are moving it as one and selecting as one object, but you can always ungroup it and work with different element separately. So that's it. And what else? Oh, theoretically you can also like really join the paths if you want, but I don't see a reason why anyone wanted to do it. And you probably know that, but as you can see, as vector graphics will be always sharp. If you make a like poster on the wall, it will look exactly the same. So that's one advantage of the vector graphic. The second one, when you take a look, and it can be even optimized more. Let's close it without saving. Okay, let's take a look. Human readable sizes, so output. Yeah, you can see that these output files are big. They are way too big. The reason is the library I'm using, because when we look at the table, let's say table 2, and that's my font editor, that's my editor. The data for this file is up to here. Yeah, so the rest, and it's the biggest part of the file. I can even delete that, and I think it will work the same. Are fonts, because this library is embedding fonts, which have the advantage, of course, that when we distribute this SVG file directly, it should look everywhere the same. But these embedded fonts are not supported in all software. That's the first thing. The second thing, for you, I think it doesn't matter, because in the end you will produce PDF files, and PDF format will always keep fonts inside PDF, so everywhere it looks the same, and it doesn't matter that the graphics inside have or doesn't have this embedded. So now let's look in simple editor if it looks the same. I didn't test it yet, but let's do it now. Yeah, it looks the same, because I have these fonts in my system. So and now when we look at the size, we can see that it is 4.8 kilos. So that's another thing, and I will talk to the author of this Canvas. It's called Canvas library, which produces these SVG files to make this embedding optional and configurable. and if he will agree, that's nice, and if not, I will do it my own on my own, because this font embedding is I think in our context completely unnecessary. Yeah, so sorry for quite lengthy video. I hope that now you know what we are talking about, and everything you have to say about this is very welcome, especially like things you think may be improved. As I had written to you, I can even show it. I started yesterday work on how I called it, dice something, yeah, dice face generator, and it's done. It's basically done, because again, in context of what we actually need. When I run go test, and I am saving outputs into I have no into some folder. No, here, okay, D1 SVG, and it's very small, but it doesn't matter. We can make it any size we want. This is these corners. You may appear that there is something strange here, but that's the way how this viewer is showing transparency. So it's a grid under it, but this corner is nicely rounded. So this is number one. Here we have number 2, and the colors and everything is configurable, so of course it will not be like that. I was just testing that color settings are working, so the dots are different color and so on. So yeah, and the plan is that I will make some kind of format. If you have any input on which format it should be, that will be great. But I am thinking about something like we know that it's D6, so that's the question, because I like this kind of thing. It's always like arrows are working strange in every spreadsheet. I have to use F2, something like that. So there are 2 dices, and one is 1, second is the face shows 2. That's the one way, because I quite like that it's even in this form it's quite visual. But if we want, or if there is a danger to have some kind of other dices, so like D10 or something, I know that it is very unlikely in the case of 2D6 dungeon, but generally. Then we could have like something like that, or even like 1 and 2, something like that. This format have one advantage, I think, because this should work. Yeah, you can see that the spreadsheet can generate like something like that, so it is quite easy to quickly do, like you always have like this 66 table, so generating 66 entries would be quite fast. I think that I tested this one and this doesn't work. So when we yeah, it doesn't work. It could only work if we again, my arrows. I have a strange habit to do all brackets in one go, and so if we take it like this, it will repeat 2 3 2 3 yeah 2 3 2 3 2 3. So we would have to write like from 1 to 6, and then maybe repeat it 6 times, and then change only those values. So yeah, but I think that it's not a problem, and I don't know which one is better. This is more universal for sure, so we can have D10 in the future for other games or something like that, because everything I am doing, I am making, of course, publicly available. Especially I think that even if you would like thought that this project doesn't interest you at the moment because of something, it will be completely fine, and I have no problem with that. But even if no one would use it, I think that the especially this ODS reading library will be quite valuable for other people, because I can read almost everything from here. So I think that's the most capable library in Golang currently, that can read some kind of advanced spreadsheet besides how to call it in English. C. Never mind this simple spreadsheet format. You all know what is it. If you know, if you don't, it doesn't matter. Okay. So yeah. Okay. That's the end. Have a great day.